Greetings, and thank you for joining today's presentation, Creating Healthy Boundaries, the Importance of Healthy Habits. My name is Lisa Holland. I'm the president of the Stay Fit Plan, a registered nurse, and a seasoned health professional with over 25 years of health promotion experience. My primary passion and personal professional objective is to help you with improving your education and your knowledge around the personal lifestyle and habits you make so that you can improve your life with increased quality and happiness. Today, this presentation will introduce healthy boundaries. Most of us are familiar with boundaries. Early in our lives, you had boundaries determined for you. But as you began to set out on your own life, you became personally accountable and responsible to establish a personal set of boundaries, rules to live by, that should have provided you with some structure and stability. Today, we're going to learn more about defining boundaries. We're going to talk about the importance of healthy boundaries and distinguish between poor and good boundaries. And lastly, we're going to give you some advice on steps that you can use to maintain your healthy boundaries and the ones that you establish. Your personal commitment to your established boundaries will define how you handle life events. Healthy boundaries help you build resilience and personal protection as we migrate through our personal life cycle. The good news is, regardless where you are today, you can establish new or enhanced boundaries to achieve optimal health and emotional well-being. So let's get started by defining boundaries and looking at some of our foundational building blocks. Healthy boundaries provide a means to pull the reins into our lives so that we can gain a sense of balance, also known as personal empowerment. Personal boundaries are generally made up of two core areas: physical health and emotional health. Physical health, such as a commitment to going to the gym every day, eating healthy, taking care of your physical bodies, leading to a healthy life. Our emotional health is a bit more diverse and can range from stress management, time management, relationships, and personal feelings such as self-perception and self-esteem. Each one of us is different, so our personal boundaries are guided by our unique selves and our life experiences. So as you entered into your adulthood, you probably already set up some boundaries which you have learned over time. These foundational boundaries are just the building blocks for most of us and usually change based on our personal life experiences, such as our work relationships, our personal relationships, education, as well as our environment. What we need to remember most when we continue to create or edit our personal boundaries is to ensure that the limits that we set for ourselves promote optimal well-being. Healthy boundaries should be created in a thoughtful and meaningful way that will provide structure and stability in our lives. When we embrace healthy boundaries, we can protect ourselves from certain risk factors that can impact our physical and emotional health. So let's define those poor health boundaries. Poor health boundaries are rampant in America today. Poor health boundaries not only erode the foundation of good health, they can disrupt the foundation of healthy boundaries if you don't recognize the negative path and make adjustments in your behaviors to improve your life. The lack of healthy boundaries can create added stress, addictions, chronic disease, compromising relationships, and disempowerment. The good news is that establishing new boundaries or renewed boundaries can begin today. Everyone needs healthy boundaries to achieve optimal health and well-being. And keep in mind, just creating these new boundaries is not enough. These healthy boundaries require constant attention in order for them to become a sustainable part of the way of your life day to day. Before we move on to the importance of healthy boundaries and how you can create or develop your own set of boundaries, let's take a look at your boundary development. For most of us, you were provided with a distinct set of boundaries as a child. You were told what to do and when to do it. Your parents or caregiver provided you with boundaries to keep you safe and guide you through difficult times based on their own personal experience. Most likely, you can remember being told, don't swear, don't throw balls in the house, brush your teeth. You get the idea. Foundationally, these boundaries gave you little freedom to make choices, and as you grew and developed, you began to challenge and push these boundaries as a normal part of your development. These challenges brought about your personal change and also came with a new sense of responsibility and accountability for any consequences related to your newfound boundaries. Personal freedom and boundaries go hand in hand, but we always must keep in mind with freedom comes a great sense of responsibility, because without the right balance, we'll find havoc in our lives and disruption that can create a negative impact on our physical and emotional health. As a mature adult, you are accountable and responsible to establish healthy boundaries. Granted, this is no small task, especially if you've already spiraled out of control. But with determination and commitment, you can create new boundaries and can become the cornerstone of a renewed sense of self and a life of happiness and well-being. So, why are healthy boundaries so important? Well, because healthy boundaries offer a means for resilience when you meet with the unexpected. Boundaries allow you to stay true to yourself, to create structure and stability, which will allow you to lead a relatively good life. You've got to be good to yourself. You've got to love yourself and set boundaries that are going to help you migrate through any type of diversity and unexpected consequences and stressors. Think of your healthy boundaries like the banks of a river. The river flows in the right direction as long as the walls of the bank of the river stay intact. If those river banks erode, all hell is going to break loose. Isn't this the same with your life? One more added thing to your plate, and you just know that you're going to crash and burn at any moment. The establishment of healthy personal boundaries will help you navigate through life and stress more effectively. When we have healthy boundaries in our lives, we have improved self-confidence and self-esteem, a higher level of resilience, and an ability to communicate better with others, fulfilling relationships, both personally, professionally, with family and friends, stability and balance that leads to empowerment and control over our own lives. By creating healthy boundaries, we are setting ourselves up for success and a life of integrity and happiness. So, now that we know what healthy boundaries are, it's important to recognize poor boundaries. So this way we can stop them in their tracks and not allow them or the circumstances around us to make us spiral out of control. Let's take a look at Jane. She looks a little hectic right now, doesn't she? Well, Jane's a whiner. She whines and complains about everything. All day long you can hear Jane complaining about the weather, that her coffee is cold, the internet isn't fast enough, the phone rings too much. As you listen to Jane whine continuously throughout the day, you probably think she has a lot of stress in her life. You know what? She does, because she creates most of it herself. And she's probably unhappy too. In most cases, and of course there are exceptions, Jane probably has a pretty good life. But you would never know it because of all the complaining that she does. Jane's not alone. This behavior is so common in today's climate. Whining has become a pastime for our nation. We have become victims of expectations, causing and inflicting stress and unhappiness, which leads to physical and emotional health problems. Constant whining, negativity, and unhappiness are signs of poor boundaries. If Jane seems familiar to you, it's time to stop. Take a look in the mirror and ask yourself if it's time to create new boundaries. Unhealthy boundaries can result in issues like anxiety and stress and lead to bigger health problems. Unhealthy boundaries can also interfere with our resilience, making small problems feel huge. Think about yourself and your current boundaries. How are they positively or negatively impacting your life today? Examples of poor boundaries include going against your personal values or rights in order to please others, giving as much as you can for the sake of giving as much as you can to please others, letting other people define you, expecting others to fulfill your needs, feeling bad or guilty when you say no, not speaking up when you're treated poorly, falling apart just so that someone can take care of you. If there is room to improve, make the commitment to change. Being accountable and responsible for your own life will lead to a good life. Remember, you're in control. So now that we know the difference and we can recognize the signs of those poor boundaries, and trust me, they sneak in an awful lot, it's time to talk about taking action and putting your renewed sense of boundaries into practice. No one has ever said that change is easy. It will take concerted effort on your part to implement your new boundaries and rules, and you may experience a few hiccups along the way. If you fall off the path, for God's sakes, do not beat yourself up. It's okay to make mistakes along the way. You're human after all. In fact, studies have shown that slip-ups are part of the change process. Think of your roadblock as a learning experience, and I know that can't be easy either, but you can move beyond it, and you can continue to implement your new healthy boundaries. A great example of a new healthy boundary is you have declared you are finally going to quit smoking. You're going to do this with a health coach and a tapering method. You are determined to quit and are making great strides. However, 2 weeks into your quit plan, you smoke more than your taper plan. Ugh. Now don't allow this one day, this one slip up, to throw you back to poor habits. Stop and recognize this for what it is. It's just a slip up. Allow yourself to have it, and then take control back and continue down the path to a healthier life. You made the commitment, you can do it. It just takes practice. Practice makes perfect. You need to continue to practice your habits every day until they become seamlessly woven into your daily routine. So let's get down to those actions that will help you maintain those healthy boundaries over time. Because as we mentioned, change is difficult and we need different skills and tactics to help us maintain those healthy boundaries that we've created. So willpower, it's tough. Most of us have it. Some have stronger wills than others. Sometimes we can leverage others with stronger wills to help motivate us to improve our own lives and our own will, such as a mentor, a friend, or even a health coach. A positive mindset and positive self-talk has been shown to have a tremendous impact on your ability to empower yourself and to stay on a healthy path. It is important to remember that feelings of guilt or playing the victim, like whining, remember Jane, will decrease your personal willpower. The best way to build your willpower is to embrace where you are today, right now, and then work from your baseline to progress and improve. And for God's sakes, use that willpower to prevent from punching somebody you hate. I love that cartoon. So let's look at how we can build that willpower. Positive affirmations are thoughts or expressions that you repeat to yourself to boost your self-esteem ultimately increasing your willpower, motivation, and most of all, the elements that will help you to support and maintain your healthy boundaries. You can't live a positive life with a negative mind. Um, and so this is a great, powerful way to improve your willpower. Affirmations should be a personal selection of words or phrases that inspire and highlight positive aspects of your personal traits. These words should nurture and enhance your sense of self by building your self-confidence and lifting your human spirit. It's easy to fall into negativity or allow yourself to hear or give yourself negative feedback almost any way for anything. We can be our own worst enemy. And negativity and negative thoughts have a big impact on your life and can lead to physical ailments and emotional instability. I hope you can hear this common theme. Affirmations, when done correctly, can improve your feelings of self-worth and subsequently empower your journey to improving your healthy boundaries through willpower. Let me share an example of the affirmation process. Find yourself a quiet place, generally private, like a bathroom, a bedroom, or other private setting. I recommend using a mirror. When you use the mirror, make sure you're making eye contact with yourself, which is an essential component to affirmations actually working. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's harder than you think. Because when you're repeating those words and you're looking at yourself and you're declaring to yourself what you are going to do, it's really powerful. You actually should feel a tug in your heart as you say the words. Repeat the words of inspiration you have found in a book or online or even something that a mentor or a role model has said to you. They could be phrases such as, I love myself unconditionally. I love myself for who I am. I'm a hard worker and I achieve results. I'm a wonderful woman. I'm a wonderful father. I'm a wonderful mother. A positive affirmation should be done each day. Continue to do affirmations. Begin to believe and embrace them, and you will see results. Another aspect to maintain those healthy boundaries is being assertive. Clearly, across the continuum, you can be passive, aggressive, or assertive. It's all about finding balance, right? So there are those three types we just talked about. Passive people, generally speaking, are people who embrace a type of behavior that generally doesn't like to meet conflict. They're not usually willing to stand up for themselves, and they have a tendency to be walked on. This type of behavior can actually produce feelings of victimization and low self-esteem. So obviously, this is not a recommended behavior in your journey to creating healthy boundaries. Aggressiveness is a type of person that at times can be overwhelming and often can try to persuade others to make decisions that may not feel good or appropriate. A person who is completely at the end of the aggressive spectrum could be seen as a bully. Again, a recommended behavior that's not part of the plan or your journey to healthy boundaries. The assertive person is a person that has found a balance between passive and aggressive. This behavior involves using your personal set of boundaries to stand your ground and stand by your decisions, but using it in a diplomatic way. Using resilience and resilience and communication tactics, to effectively navigate your way through stressful and difficult situations to produce meaningful outcomes. When it comes to creating healthy boundaries, an assertive behavior is a good choice. Assertive stands by principles of integrity, ethics, and respect. You can be firm, but polite, creative communication that stands by your boundaries will help you result in strength and stability and help you gain the peace of mind that you're looking for. Take a look at this image. Assertiveness, as I mentioned, falls along a spectrum, meaning you may find your personal behavior somewhere in between passive and assertive or assertive and aggressive. You're going to migrate along this spectrum throughout your journey. The key is finding that middle ground so that you most of the time can feel good about yourself and feel good about your decisions and live by your healthy boundaries. We talked about self-esteem and how it does go hand in hand with willpower. Self-esteem is an essential component for creating healthy boundaries. In a stress-filled world, overwhelming with negativity and constantly eating away at your own self-esteem, it's important that you nourish your self-esteem throughout your life. Self-esteem is a combination of personal confidence, courage, humbleness, and self-acceptance. Research has shown when an individual has a high sense of self-esteem, they generally have a healthy life, both physically and emotionally. Personal levels of self-esteem can fluctuate from day to day. The bottom line is to make sure that you do not allow surrounding negativity to impact your self-esteem and impair your healthy boundaries. Your self-esteem and the way you see yourself is so important. I love this image. I'm a lion. Tackle each day with great care and with lots of self-esteem. So there are 5 core components to self-esteem that you should work on. Each one of those includes your uniqueness, personal empowerment, which we've talked a lot about today, mentors and the people who are role models to you, your feelings of connectedness and relationships, and risk-taking. Your uniqueness are the things about yourself that you believe make you special and unique. For example, maybe you have a great sense of humor or you're a great cook. Embrace those feelings. Be empowered by those feelings. Speaking of empowerment, this is all about your self-worth and how you contribute to others using your own uniqueness. Perhaps you feel empowered when you help others by using your knowledge as a teacher, a nurse, a boss, a parent. Mentors and role models are also so important to our self-esteem. Individuals aspire sometimes to have certain qualities and traits that others have, and hopefully this is in a healthy way. We generally want these attributes to help build upon our personal strengths and resilience to improve ourselves, to improve who we are, to empower us further, to continue to build our healthy boundaries. Connectiveness is about having a sense of belonging. This is an important part of our self-esteem. When you feel like you belong, it brings feelings of happiness and joy. Think about your family, friends, coworkers. Don't you want to be connected? We look at social media. There's lots of studies about social media and how while people feel connected and it feels good, there's still a lack of that virtual world. So having reality, real friends, real families, real coworkers, and being truly connected in a real world is very important to our self-esteem. And then lastly, risk-taking. But we want it to be calculated and meaningful. Sometimes going outside our comfort zone doesn't always make us feel so good. However, when we take calculated risks, those actions that are taken as part of our personal growth, it can totally be worth the fear, and it can improve and boost our overall self-esteem. Consider all of these factors as you work hard each day to improve your self-esteem in your journey of your new health boundaries. The last component that I want to talk about is making time to actually practice your new healthy boundaries, keeping in mind that practice does make perfect. We all have the best intentions, and hopefully after today's presentation, you will leave with a renewed sense of self and are ready to renew your personal boundaries to maintain or improve your life. You must be accountable and responsible for your life. If you want a good life, you must incorporate the elements of healthy habits discussed to achieve optimal health and well-being. You must not be the victim anymore. You must take control. You are the only one that can improve your life and improve it through setting and establishing healthy boundaries that will help you achieve your goal. Many of our best intentions are never achieved because we don't take the time needed to include them into our lives. Oh, we have New Year's resolutions of I'm going to work out. That's a healthy boundary. We want to create that for ourselves. But the but here you must make time in order to do that. You've got to get out of bed a little bit early. We're constantly distracted, things compromising the quality of our life. While technology and the abundance of choices is great, it can absolutely be overwhelming and lead to poor choices. You know, time management and the topic of this is so extensive. It's a presentation in and of itself. We have to look at our own individual lives, our tasks, and the options to determine how to best manage our day and our lives. Only you know where you can cut corners, where you can shave off a few extra minutes. And it's all about looking at what really matters, what is truly meaningful, and what can you let go of. The most important aspect of time management is to ask yourself what really matters. And so that you can carve out the things that are minutia in our lives so that you can live your healthy boundaries and lead a happy life. So I hope that today's presentation has demonstrated to you that having healthy boundaries is essential to living a healthy life. A life that will be filled with more ups than downs, happiness and joy. Your journey is not always going to be easy. There's going to be roadblocks along the way. But if you embrace healthier habits through the adoption of healthy boundaries, through each step in your journey, it will be filled with some amazing experiences that are worth it. You know, I began my personal journey way back in my 20s. It hasn't always been an easy ride, but I can tell you this. Using the principles of healthy boundaries, I've been able to create passionate relationships, a dynamic and fulfilling career, and a beautiful daughter. My journey is still in progress. It will be for the rest of my life. What I learned is that I can say no, and it's okay, and no one's going to think badly of me. And I can spend more time thinking positively and feeling good than feeling negative and being a victim. When I'm in control, I feel good, and feeling good helps me live my healthy boundaries. You are also in control, and you can experience a good life. I encourage you to live a good life and embrace your personal healthy boundaries. Thank you so much for attending today's presentation. God bless and have a good life.